And welcome back to our final day of our coverage of Mobile World Congress 2015. We're once again in the Dell booth with Franklin Flint. He's the Global Marketing Strategist for Dell OEM Solutions. And Franklin, welcome back.
Thanks, good to be here.
I know the timbre and tone is a bit different from the last time we spoke at the top of the show. Now at the bottom of the show, it's a little bit slower. We're all a little bit fatigued. What's your experience, what has been your experience over the last few days?
Oh, it's been phenomenal. I've been as busy as I've ever been in my life, and it's all for good reasons. We've had great customer conversations, we've had great partner conversations, I've had great experience going around the show floors and seeing all the stuff that's going on. And then the evening events or the networking events we've been attending have just been phenomenal. The connections that we've made and the relationships we're developing is unlike anything I've seen before.
Now, I thought it was interesting when we arrived here a few days back that you chose to display your partners, not just one or two, but many of them right here in your booth. What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, one of the neat things that Dell is bringing to this market is this ecosystem of partners where we can work together to bring a more complete and unified solution to market that's supported and guaranteed to work together. You don't have any finger pointing between the various vendors that you're trying to work with. We're doing it together, but it's still large enough that you still have choice in who you work with, and we're very happy about that. So we brought in our great partner Artisan, who's showing a wonderful video transcoding technology that has density beyond anything in the industry today, based on standard technology, so it plugs right into cloud and NFV technologies we have today. We have Cobham Wireless, which has an absolutely outstanding technology that allows you to test and certify VNF service chains before you deploy them to guarantee that the performance is where it needs to be. We have Napatech, which has some reference architectures that we're selling for them that allows people to start testing and qualifying on standard architectures for making test equipment, for doing network probes and other things, DPI engines. We have Brocade, who has an amazing service chaining demo for some of the technologies they have, and they have so many other technologies that we could have been showing, but we're showing this great service chaining demo that we're working with. Then of course we have Red Hat, who's our main partner here at the show. Our entire strategy as we go into the telecom business is to be open, and the most open that you can have is a company like Red Hat, who's a great partner with us.
Of course, virtual networking is huge here on the floor at Mobile World Congress. It supports the Internet of Things, of course also brings in technologies like network functions virtualization and also software-defined networking. What kind of position does that put Dell in as far as being able to provide agnostic hardware?
Yeah, it's a fascinating conversation because we're involved in all aspects of the business. Not only can we build a fully designed, configured and integrated solution that has all of your NFV requirements from the hardware to the software to the OpenStack layer with our partners like Red Hat. We have a lot of management tools to manage all that hardware, but then we're developing relationships with all the VNF providers so that we can at least deliver or guarantee compatibility with all that equipment, all that software that's going out there. And of course the orchestration companies and the systems management companies at the high level, we're building those relationships as well. So we have that clearly integrated solution that you can bring to market. But we're also working with people who are building their own integrated solutions where we can unbrand or separate the Dell solution from that and give them just the ingredients that they need to deliver their solution to market. That way we can provide the servers, the hardware, the switches, the storage, even do the builds of the data centers for them, but then they can make their own solution on top of that. And since we have such a strong and rich ecosystem, very often they might be building a solution which includes our ecosystem partners, so then our customers get the benefit of those relationships. They realize that we can work together and there's not going to be finger pointing once again, which is always an issue when you're working with multiple vendors.
You know, Franklin, as you know, and not long ago, when you come to a conference, a big one like this one, everyone wants to highlight their own technology, right? But now you're seeing these various booths highlighting their end-to-end solutions. Why take that approach?
Well, that's what customers want when they buy a solution. People don't like playing this Lego block game where they buy this piece and that piece and that piece and then hope that it goes together. And when it doesn't go together well, have to go to the market and hire somebody who's very expensive to come in and figure it out. They're also a little bit tired of having to pay unbelievable amounts of money to consultants and integration companies just to make all those pieces work together and then hold them accountable for it. They want to be in a world where an open architecture just works. Now, there'll always be issues of making it work correctly, but if you get most of the pieces to work well together, that simplifies the whole deployment and design process, as well as the operational process for this solution.
Let's talk about Red Hat just for a moment. I know they're one of your partners here in the booth, in the Dell booth. How does the open source community play a big role in providing these end-to-end solutions?
Well, the nice thing about open source is that you're not stuck with a single vendor for a solution, right? Open source is about a community of people working together to build the code and the software that runs the applications that you have out in your solution. With open source, you don't get stuck with a single vendor, so you get to choose and pick the best provider, but you also have the ability to have this massive amount of developers all contributing to that open source community. You're not stuck with just how many engineers does Red Hat have, or how many engineers does Intel have, or how many engineers do these other companies have. You're in only that developing your solution. You have all those companies' engineers, plus all the individual contributors, the university students, the professors, the researchers in the industry who are creating solutions in the open source community. And when they do that, you wind up with a much more supported, a much more robust, and a much more innovative solution to bring to market. And that is why open source is so great. You don't have vendor tie-in, right? So you don't wind up buying with one company, being stuck with them, and they can gouge you on price or cut you down on service. You don't have the limited feature sets that you get with a single vendor tie-in. It's just whatever the open source community can bring to you. It's one big, massive, happy family.
Now, a couple days back, we had a panel with Red Hat and Intel, John Healy from Intel. I want to find out from you from your perspective, how far beyond a processing chip manufacturer Intel is for you.
Well, Intel is a major provider of core components to us. Obviously, the CPU is one of the main things we do. When we talk about going to this COTS-based NFV solution, that is the euphemism for an x86 architecture, which Intel is the de facto leader in that industry. But beyond just the CPU, they have incredible networking technologies for the network interfaces that are going in. They have all kinds of optimization capabilities for how the network communicates to the RAM and the CPU inside the machine, so that whole ecosystem is there. They have some great storage technologies that they've developed and they're offering on like flash hard drive technologies and things like that. They're also a major contributor to that open source community that we were just talking about. In fact, I saw an announcement recently that they're up to or ahead of Red Hat in their contribution, and that is to drive this open source community into the NFV space more rapidly, to solve all those problems that are traditional problems with the x86 architecture, solve them through software so that you don't have to wait for a DSP vendor or someone else to figure out how to solve it through a more expensive tied-in way.
Now, of course, we're all talking here at the show, as we did last year, about NFV, SDN, the Internet of Things community. Let's step outside of that circle just for a moment. What kind of technology do you think we should expect to see, if you could just pick one, next year that we'll be talking about?
Well, I like the wearable thing that's going on. I mean, everyone's excited about it because it's a cool technology that we can play with, but how we use it and the benefit we get from it is still very niche and very specific. I have an activity tracker that I carry around, and I get to see how many steps I take and estimate how many calories I burn, and it goes into a cloud, and I can look at my data there and look at maps and stuff. But if you can gather more information from that kind of a device and use it in other ways, like with your medical provider or with how you pick your shoes even, or how you pick your wardrobe that you're going to wear. I mean, there's so many other things, that's just brainstorming. There's so many other things you can do with wearable technology. Once you have devices on you and sensors on you, you can actually make your life more efficient, or you can make your life more entertaining, or you can save money in other ways. I think there's a lot that we can get to. And having all these core platforms starting out that way, I think we're going to see some young people or some really innovative people start finding new and better ways to use that technology to make life better for everybody.
Franklin, you've always been a big supporter of TIA and also TI now, so we all here really appreciate it, and we hope you can continue that going forward.
Absolutely, there's going to be a lot of new things going on in the future.
Thanks, Franklin.
Thank you.
And once again, I'd like to thank Franklin Flint and the Dell Corporation for sponsoring our coverage here at Mobile World Congress 2015. As always, you can get all of our content on tianow.org, and we'll be notifying you very soon about our upcoming coverage at Mobile World Congress 2016. So long.